Let me take you back to 1995. The internet was just beginning to open new doors, but very few people saw its full potential. One person who did was Linda Weinman, a graphic design teacher and an aspiring entrepreneur. Linda wasn't trying to build a massive tech startup. All she wanted at that moment was a sandbox, a safe digital space to play around with the new graphic design software tools emerging at the time: Photoshop, Illustrator, and many others. She also needed a platform to showcase her students' work, a kind of online gallery where they could share, learn, and grow. And so she launched a website, lynda.com. What began as a personal and educational tool gradually evolved into something much greater. By 2002, Linda realized that her website could become an online learning platform, delivering her lessons to a global audience. She took all of her teaching online, well before e-learning became mainstream. Years later, this vision paid off. The platform was acquired by LinkedIn and rebranded as LinkedIn Learning, in a landmark deal valued at $1.5 billion. Linda's journey is a perfect illustration of what I call the counter-conventional mindsets, mental frameworks that defy traditional business thinking, but which are essential for entrepreneurs. Today, I want to share with you 6 of these mindsets. These ways of thinking are not taught in most business schools. In fact, they contradict many of the standard strategies we teach about marketing, finance, operations, and risk management. But they work, especially in the world of entrepreneurship. Mindset 1. Yes, we can. Say yes, even when you don't yet know how traditional strategy says. Stick to what you're good at. Focus on your core competencies. Don't venture outside your area of expertise. But entrepreneurs often thrive by doing the opposite. Consider Arnold Correa, a Brazilian entrepreneur. He had already pivoted his company, now called Atmo Digital, multiple times. Initially in event production, he was approached by a client with a challenge. I manage 260 stores across Brazil. I want to broadcast training and motivational sessions to all locations in real time. Can you help? Arnold knew nothing about satellite technology. His business had never operated outside Sao Paulo. But his answer? Yes, we can. He figured it out. And he did it again when Walmart approached him. Can we install screens on the sales floor to run real-time ads while customers shop? Again, yes we can. Over the years, by saying yes to bold, unfamiliar ideas, Arnold reinvented his business 4 times. His success didn't come from staying in a narrow lane. It came from embracing opportunity, even when it meant stepping into the unknown. Mindset 2. Start with problems, not products. In large corporations, product obsession is common. A new brand manager comes in, changes the packaging or adds a scent and calls it innovation. Think of Tide detergent. One year it has blue speckles, the next green. Think of Coca-Cola, Classic Coke, New Coke, which flopped, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Vanilla Coke. So many variations, but are they solving real problems? Entrepreneurs take a different approach. They focus on problems first. Take Jonathan Thorne, who developed a unique silver-nickel alloy. Why? Because he noticed a frustrating issue. Surgical forceps, used in nearly every type of surgery, often stick to human tissue, making procedures more difficult, especially in cosmetic surgery. He launched his product targeting plastic surgeons. But the market was small, and growth was slow. Instead of pushing harder on product marketing, he reevaluated the problem. Where was this issue more serious? The answer? Neurosurgery, where forceps sticking could have dangerous consequences in brain or spinal procedures. Thorne pivoted, and that move paid off. He eventually sold his company to Stryker, a global leader in medical technology. Why did he succeed? Because he focused on solving a critical, specific problem, not just selling a product. Mindset 3. Think narrow before you think broad. Big companies look for big markets. That's how they move the needle. They avoid niche audiences. But startups often win by starting very, very narrow. When Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman started Nike, they weren't thinking globally. They were solving a very specific problem for a very specific group: elite distance runners. Phil was a runner. Bill was his coach. Their shoes weren't working. Most were built for sprinters, not for long-distance runners who trained on country trails and dirt roads. These athletes suffered from sprained ankles and shin splints because their shoes lacked the stability and support needed for their conditions. So they designed a shoe just for that narrow group. Better lateral stability, more cushioning, a wider sole, and lighter weight. Once they had a product that solved that niche problem, and once athletes began using it, they scaled. From runners to tennis players like John McEnroe, and then to basketball icons like Michael Jordan. Today, Nike is a global powerhouse, but it all started by thinking narrow, not broad. Mindset 4. Ask for the cash, ride the float. Big corporations are flooded with cash. Sometimes they don't even know what to do with it. In 2018, for example, major firms spent billions on stock buybacks instead of meaningful innovation. But entrepreneurs, cash is survival. When Elon Musk joined Tesla, the plan was, build a high-end car, use the profits to build a mid-range one, and eventually release a mass-market model to reduce emissions globally. But Musk added a twist. Why not get the cash first? Tesla ran a roadshow in California, inviting environmentally conscious, tech-savvy, wealthy individuals to preview a car that didn't yet exist. The result? 100 people put down $100,000 each for the Roadster. That's $10 million in cash, before the first car was even built. Years later, when Tesla launched the Model 3, nearly 500,000 people each placed a $1,000 deposit. That's $500 million up front, funding engineering, tooling, and production. Entrepreneurs like Musk understand, sometimes the best way to fund a venture is through your future customers. Mindset 5. Beg, borrow, just don't steal at business school. We teach students to calculate ROI, forecast investment, estimate returns, and then decide whether to proceed. But Tristram and Rebecca Mayhew, founders of Go Ape, a treetop adventure course in the UK, took a different path. They saw a similar experience while on vacation in France and wanted to replicate it in the UK. But they didn't own land or forests, so they asked, who already has trees? The answer? The UK Forestry Commission. It owned vast forested lands and was actively looking for ways to increase visitor numbers. The Mayhews made a proposal. Let us build a few courses. If they're successful, grant us exclusivity for future sites for 25 years. The Forestry Commission agreed. Today, Go Ape has over 30 locations across the UK and several more in the United States. They didn't buy the land, didn't build the infrastructure, they borrowed it all. Smart, resourceful, and sustainable. Mindset 6. Don't ask for permission. Just start in large organizations. Launching something new often means dealing with legal departments, compliance, and endless layers of approval. It's slow, risk-averse, frustrating. Entrepreneurs, they skip the line. When Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp founded Uber, do you think they asked permission from San Francisco's taxi regulators? Of course not. If they had, the regulators would have said no. It threatened an entrenched system. So they launched anyway. The rest is history. Now let me be clear. I don't condone many of Uber's practices. Some were unethical, even illegal, but the principle remains. Regulations often lag behind innovation. Entrepreneurs move fast and adjust as needed. When the path is unclear, sometimes the only way forward is to just go. To wrap up, 4 final questions for you. 1. Which of these mindsets do you already use? Are you already a problem solver? Do you say yes often? 2. Which of them could you begin to adopt? These mindsets are learnable. With awareness and practice, you can build them. 3. Can you teach them to someone you work with, a colleague, a student, a teammate? Sharing these tools can unlock new possibilities for others too. 4. And most importantly, is there a challenge you're facing right now where one or more of these mindsets might help? Could saying yes, thinking narrow, or borrowing what you need break through that barrier? So there you have it. 6 bold, counter-conventional mindsets that can help you build something great, maybe even change the world. Are you ready to think like an entrepreneur? Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed. Let's reach 100,000 people with strong minds.